this gorgeous thing. Man, really digging the orange. Anyway, welcome to the channel. I'm BJ, this is Brickhouse Builds, and this is obviously a CB750, one of the most iconic bikes ever. And this one is actually just in here for service. This is a friend's uncle's bike, and this one basically just sat for a couple years, and the last times he rode it, it was kind of, I don't know, it seemed like it had like an ignition issue or something like that. It had a random kind of erratic cutout or misfire or something going on. So since it's been down, it's just been kind of collecting dust, sitting in a shed, but overall this thing is actually in really good condition. It's a 1972 model, so pretty early bike, and I think it looks like it has, like 38,000 miles on it, but in good shape. So hopefully this one won't take too much to figure out, but I figured this might be a cool couple videos to take you guys along for the diagnosis process and kind of figuring out what this thing needs and getting it fixed and getting it back to the customer. So let's dive in. Yeah, first order of business on this thing, I am going to pull the carburetor bowls, kind of get an idea of what the fuel or the carburetor condition is in this thing. And then we can kind of start moving from there. I want to pull the ignition cover off, or the points cover, check the gap on there, check the just check to make sure they're clean, just file the points a little bit. And then I want to look at the ignition coil bodies themselves. If it is a coil, because it is kind of a like an erratic misfire, you know, it could just be a coil heating up and dropping. So I want to check the primary and secondary resistance on those, check the bodies for cracks, look at the insulator caps for the plugs, just go through and do all the basic stuff. Beyond that, he said that the front brake was sticking whenever he went to move it outside for me, so probably go ahead and pop the caliper apart and rebuild that thing, just re-grease it, re-lube it, flush the front system, and just make some minor adjustments. Do an oil change, and that's probably about it. This thing shouldn't take much. I use the hashtag a lot. Old Hondas never die, so this thing hopefully is going to be living up to that hashtag. But anyway, let's dig in. Okay, with the tank off, we can kind of start inspecting these coils here. Now visually I'm not seeing any cracking in them, and all the wiring is intact, all looks good. So this thing has just some age to it. And the first thing I did notice was actually contact between the throttle cable here and this coil output wire, or plug wire output. And if I feel the back side of this, I can actually, it's almost like it's worn or indented a little bit. So, and that would be caused by, turning the bars back and forth and this cable sliding, and there's a little wear on the cable, so I wonder if that could be a potential arc point. I'm not going to say that's our issue with confidence, but I will put that in the mental notes bank. So now I can kind of maybe start pulling plug caps and just inspecting the coil resistance. Well, having pulled these things off, what I'm seeing is these wires are just completely deteriorating. So number 1, 3, and 4, they were pretty difficult to get off. Number 1 is the only one that came off like in an actual twisting motion without ripping the wire apart and leaving residue in it. So this one is still pretty crappy, and it's the best one. Number 2, it slid right off. There was pretty much no contact in there, so that would likely explain a misfire. So that's another potential culprit there. But yeah, number 3 and number 4 just completely came apart in a bad way. So I'm gonna have to like definitely at a minimum try to shorten those leads and then put new plug caps on. But I might not be able to save those. So we're still gonna test the coils, of course, and try to save them if we can. But for now, I'm going to test the plug caps as well. All right, we have plug caps 1 through 4 here. We're just going to test the plug cap resistance while we have them. So let's start with number 1. So 8.4, a little on the high side. That's K ohms. Should be about a 5,000 ohm resistance in here. Let's check number 2. $10K, so high again. Number 3. Got nothing so far. Number 3 definitely looking like it's bad. Among the other 2 that are bad. Finally, number 4. And these look to be original, so I mean that'd be pretty incredible. Kind of open line again. Nothing. Okay. Alright, now we're on the coils. We're going to do the primary and secondary resistance. Now on the primary resistance, we're going to be measuring the resistance on the 2 leads here. I have 1 lead connected via clip. So put the other lead here. So 5 ohms, 4.9, 4.8. So really close. So that's within spec on this one. We're going to do the same test on the other coil. So this, and then our yellow lead. Five on the nose, 5.15, dancing there, so that passes as well. Let's move on to secondary, and for this we can remove our pigtail. And on secondary, we're just measuring the resistance between the 2 actual plug leads. So on these bikes, they have 2 coils. The left coil runs cylinders 1 through 4, and then the right coil does cylinders 2 and 3. So I need to grab the lead for number 4 and drag it over here and measure the resistance. Actually, what I'll do, I'll go ahead and just plug this side into number 4. And then number 1. If we can get it up, there we go. So that's 18.9 K ohms. It should be around 15,000 or 15K. $18.9. I'm just moving my leads around just to make sure I'm getting a consistent reading. $18.9. So a little higher than spec. Let's repeat the test. Cylinders 2, 3. This is going to be our right coil. I'm right on the wires and I am not getting anything. It's not our meter. Getting nothing on 2, 3. Nothing on 2, 3. Trying and trying. Sealed on there pretty good. Look at all that Permatex. Dang. See our screw right there to advance or retard the plate is stripped out. I'm going to check the physical timing on this thing because that adjustment window is really far offset. So I wonder if it's out of time that way too. So you can see what I mean here with the plate. There's an adjustment window, and you rotate this whole plate to advance or retard the timing. So of course this isn't like exact, but a lot of times you'll see them maybe a little bit more set towards the middle, but this one's very far offset in that direction, which to me looks like it'd be advanced. So a little odd. We'll definitely inspect it through our inspection window here. We can actually line up our timing marks with the advancer plate behind here, and we'll confirm mechanical timing. Okay, right now we're looking at our points gap right here. So I have the crank rotated to where the points gap is at its widest. So our min-max, 0.12 to 0.16 inches. So we will check both min and max. I can do this. Obviously the camera's kind of in my way. It definitely opens up on my minimum. It's maybe a little tight. Now, you're not going to be able to see this, but there is a little bit of debris actually in points right there. So I can start feeding this in, and the gap is perfect, but then it gets to the center and it has that little piece of debris or something in there. And it was like that for both sides. So I'm going to clean those up real quick and re-evaluate. Be a miracle if you guys could see this. There you go. Right in that points gap, you see how it's kind of raised up? Shouldn't be like that. Let's take a look at this side. All right, same kind of deal. All right, I'm going to go ahead and file these things real quick and get right back with it. All right, let's recheck our points gap here. Still tell we need to do a little bit more filing on this one. Still a little ridge. It's feeling better, but it's still catching. Still more work to do cleaning these up. So next up, I want to work on confirming the ignition timing of this thing. And I have a little setup here with a test light that I'm going to show you, and I will end up using the cell phone to try to get some detail shots in here. But let me show you the quick rundown of how I have this set up. So I have a battery hooked up to the bike, tested the systems and everything works. And then within the point system, I have a test light set up, and this is just like a little indicator bulb. Okay, hot side on the blue wire, and this point is for cylinders 1 and 4. This one's for 2 and 3. So we're going to check one at a time. The other side will end up just going to ground. I have just an engine ground here. And the way we test this, turn the ignition on, and then what we do is rotate the engine and we look for the fire mark on cylinders 1, 4 to align, and that'll turn the light on, and that's when we know it'll be correct. Okay, cell phone cam. Gonna go ahead and get my ground hooked up here. So you can see within here we have F with a slash mark. That's our timing mark. 1.4, that's cylinders 1 and 4, and that's on this point. So what we're looking for is this mark on the case back here. That slash, whenever that lines up with that, we're going to look for our bulb to light. Let's go ahead and rotate. So you can see we're like a little bit advanced there. Not bad though. So a little advanced, but really in all honesty, that's not bad. So I'm gonna loosen this thing and we're gonna get it in spec. Okay, now we have the points plate loosened up here. You can rotate it. So I'm gonna rotate it back just a hair. See where we're at. And then we just repeat the same test. So again, hook up our ground. So a little bit too much. Okay, now we know we go back the other way. It's a trial and error thing. You know what, maybe slightly more. All right. Unhook my light. I'm going to switch leads, test numbers 2 and 3. See how late that is? That's kind of strange. All right, so we're going to readjust the orientation 2 and 3 on this separate plate here. So we're getting really into it. And just killed power. Now we just repeat the same test. And through a couple more adjustments. Boom. On the money. So before I pull the bowls off this thing, I wanted to go ahead and just drain the fuel out of them, or any fuel that was in them. So I drained cylinders 1 and 2, and the fuel came out like really yellow and varnished. But I just went to drain number 4, and it's like antifreeze green. What? And it smells about the same, but that's weird. That's green. It's just like complete different color change. I'm gonna drain number 3 and see what that thing looks like. I don't know if I can get this one open. You know what? I need a better angle. I'm gonna go ahead and pull the airbox lid. Alright, we got the airbox lid off. That thing definitely needs an air filter. There we go. Looks like green again. What on earth? Okay, the last of the checks before I kind of start building a quote for this thing. Getting float bowls off and inspecting them. So I did pull number 1 off, and I'm on the fence on whether or not I want to pull the carbs and do at least a quick cleaning. They're really not bad. The emulsion tube had a little bit of gunk. Yep. Yeah, that one has more varnish. And gunk. I think it needs it. Another strange thing that at least I haven't encountered. Look at these main jets. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see this, but these are plastic. I have never seen plastic jets. So here we have our float bowls. So cylinders 1, 2, 3, 4. And usually what you would see is the left two the most varnished if the bike was on like a kickstand, for example. This thing sat on its center stand, and you can see the level was higher in 3 and 4. Kind of opposite. It was really weird. But this, I know 3 and 4 was kind of against the shed wall for the last couple of years, and I'm wondering if the sun was just like baking the metal on the side of the barn and like almost like cooking the right 2 carbs or something like that, or just at least heating that up more. But who knows? Really kind of strange. But I think we're going to go for a rebuild on the carbs, just like, I don't know, at least like a halfway cleaning, at least running them through there, not disassembling the banks completely, but just running the carbs through there once. The battery, obviously this thing's been sitting. I don't think it's any good anymore. I think I can see the plates starting to contact each other in there, so dead cells. And then, of course, our plug caps are looking like they're no good. And then our coil, number 2, 3 coils, not testing any good. So we got a list here, but none of it is like extreme, weird, out of the ordinary stuff for like, what, a 50-year-old bike? Okay, that's going to kind of do it for the diagnosis portion of this thing. I think we did a pretty good job, and we have a good understanding of what the underlying issues were and why the thing was parked or had to misfire, you know. And now we kind of know what to do and how to proceed forward. So the next steps, we're going to get some parts in order, and then we're going to go ahead and kind of disassemble a little bit, clean the carbs, go through the front brake a little bit, maybe kind of, you know, spit shine this thing up a little bit, make it look good. But until then, yeah, I hope you guys liked this video. I hope you found it really informative. I tried to pack a lot of information in it, and I know it's probably running a little bit long at this point in time, so I'll try to wrap it up. But anyway, if you like stuff like this, like seeing me bring old bikes back to life, I have a cool video right here of like a Honda Cub that I brought back to life, been sitting since 1975. Check out some other videos on the channel, subscribe if you haven't already, and I hope to see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.